Hey guys, welcome back to HB Keeping Up With Me. Reverse it, that's over. Keeping Up With Me, HB, yeah. Okay guys, so we are 10 days away until the photo shoots. In case you're wondering what we're actually dieting for and you just totally missed all of that, the whole reason Lane's doing the Shred with Lane program is because of this photo shoot. He hasn't done a photo shoot in legit 10 years that is specifically for physique stuff. Obviously, he spent the majority of his career, or at least the last 10 years post bodybuilding world, in powerlifting. So it's not really something that you really focus on. All of the images on BioLane are just like, meh. It's about time. So he's looking incredible. In fact, it was funny, he put up a post just the other day and the cover image was like just him. And I think like, cause I'm always around him, I'm always standing pretty close. It wasn't until I like saw this picture and I'm like, holy shit, babe, you're freaking shredded. Yeah, he's looking incredible. He's been using carbon for the entire 8 weeks, which has been pretty intense. I know he's thrown in a few diet breaks as well. I've been doing intermittent diet breaks. I think they're kind of more like take as needed, but his are more structured, week on, week off, etc. We have 10 days. So today is Tuesday, photo shoot is next Friday, and then I think I have another one on Saturday. So the next 10 days for me, it's like I'm finally focused. I'm like, yeah, okay, I've got 10 days to work hard. That's about, honestly, it's like I'm so like short-sighted that I really have a hard time. So you can just imagine how challenging prep is for me. I get to about 20 days out for prep and I'm like, okay, it's time to get serious. 10 days, we're good. I'm focused. This week's going to be super compliant to my targets. I haven't checked in for the last 7 days, so I'm actually going to do that right now with you guys here live. Here we go. I'm looking at my macros today. I haven't actually entered in the foods that I have had yet, but that's not what we'll talk about. So I've gone to the coaching page. I'm going to check in. Was I compliant to my targets? So if you look here, my target range calories, if we give myself the plus or minus 2.5% from my actual target, it gives me a range of 1327 to 1401. My average tracked calories for the week, with all the calorie cycling that I was doing, was 1598. So I really nailed it. But still very like low calories based on what I know to be my current resting metabolic rate, because we actually went into the USF lab yesterday, Dr. Campbell's lab, and had some repeat tests, and my current resting metabolic rate is like 1739. So the fact that my calories are even still at 1598, that's still pretty decent. So anyway, I'm not going to be compliant. My protein was a little high this week, but I tend, and I think I've spoken to you guys about this in previous videos, when I'm on restrictive calories, I tend to avoid, carbohydrates and fats because I don't want to exceed those targets. And what ends up happening is I'll, have 5 or 4 meals in the day, and I'll think about, okay, what protein source can I have and how can I make sure that they're, pretty low in carbohydrates and fats, and then I just skyrocket past them. So I'll show you the individual days here in a minute. My carbs, my weekly average came in at 156. Now Lane and I went away on the weekend just for a serious mental break, and we decided just to have a couple of high days in a row. So I'll show you why my carbohydrate is so high. My target was 116 to 122. I came in at 156. My fats, I've been doing pretty good with fats. 35 to 37 was my target range using carbon, and I tracked as my weekly average 41. So I can't mark yes. So we'll keep that as a no. Now I'm going to enter in my metrics. So today I weighed in at 69.8 after my workout. I did have my body composition measured yesterday, so I can actually, for the first time in a few weeks, enter this in. I came back at 16.2, and that was using a combination of ultrasound and skin calipers, and we kind of look at both of those. They were tested twice each, so 2 rounds of a 7-site ultrasound and 2 rounds of a 7-site caliper pinch test.
and then we took the average of both. So 16.2 is my current body fat percentage. And am I close to my menstrual cycle? No. We'll hit next. Does everything look okay? Compliance, no. Weight, that's correct. Body fat, right. Menstrual cycle. Okay, I'm checking in. Here we go. I have a feeling I'm just going to have the same targets again. What do you know? I wasn't compliant. So my macros are going to stay the same, but that's totally fine with me because I know they are well below my current resting metabolic rate. And keep in mind, that's before I add in the exercise I'm doing. So when I hit those targets, I'm going to lose weight. So let's go and have a look at a couple of those individual days because I wanted to talk about, I guess, our weekend away and basically how I structured my week. So as you know, I've really been trying to make a conscious effort to be flexible. And on days it makes sense to go hard, I go hard. Like today's an easy day. I've got a lot of stuff on. I don't think about eating. I've got everything kind of planned and organized so that I can hit my targets. And those 1364 calories that I'm striving for are pretty easy. But then on other days, obviously I'm eating above my maintenance or at maintenance. So you can see here on the screen, Saturday was the day that Lane and I decided we needed to have a mental health weekend. So 2051 was my consumption, my average calories on, or my calories on that day. Sunday was the day that we kind of spent half the day away and then we drove back home. So it was 1716. And part of the reason that they're high is just the inability or inflexibility of some of the locations that we ate at. It's just really hard to find like extra lean cuts of beef. Like it's usually a restaurant, so they're not going to serve you an extra lean cut of beef. They want you to enjoy the taste of it because it's got all the fatty bits and it's served with butter and it's cooked in oil, you know. So I wasn't making like grotesque high calorie choices. I was just having, I think for dinner on the weekend, I ordered some scallops and we had a dessert, which I knew was going to be calorie dense, but like my main meal was pretty lean. It's just hard to do when you're eating out. So I don't think there was anything crazy, high about that week, but you can certainly see the Friday, Saturday, Sunday were above my targets. Tuesday and Thursday managed to nail them. I was at 1632, 2 calories shy of my actual goal on Tuesday. And then Thursday was 12:11. So I kind of pulled back a little bit thinking about the fact we might be going away on the weekend. Monday, I had an absolute shit of a day, like full transparency. I think I cried 4 days of last week, just feeling super stressed, really emotional. It's not even my period. There's just a lot of stress. So yeah, I guess even me who have been working and getting help with not using food as like my emotional, go-to, I still have weeks where I'm a fucking mess, excuse my French, but like it was just terrible. So Monday, I kind of had one of those days where I was just really overwhelmed, and thank goodness I kind of got up on Tuesday. I was like, all right, you can do this, and I nailed it. Thursday, a little bit higher. I don't know, something stressful probably happened on that day. Thursday, good day, nailed it. Wednesday or Friday, and then on the weekends, obviously, was the time away. So you can see there, like my week is by no stretch of the imagination perfect, but I'm not trying to be. So I think it's so important, since there isn't a stage waiting for me, I don't need to be perfect. I don't have to try and compensate all the time and make up for, little mistakes. So that's how things kind of went down for us. We actually drove to a place called Gainesville. I kept calling it Jacksonville, but apparently that also exists. There's somewhere like up north of Florida that's also called that. But we drove to Gainesville. It's like 2 hours away. I watched my first college football match. I didn't think I was going to watch football. Lane just coaxed me into this idea that, hey, we're going away. Don't ask me questions. I'm just taking you somewhere. So we went to this outdoor, it's like a beer and wine place. Like you go in and you're sitting kind of in the facility. So you've got like all the big silos and the equipment that makes the beer. And I guess they have wine there too. And then it was so awesome. They had like seating and then like a massive screen, like the size of this entire wall set up. And it was the Florida Gators were playing football against another team. I don't know where it was. Not sure, but it was so fun. So we tried like, I don't know, 5 or 6 different beers. and the crowd was like awesome. So I think I can say that I enjoy American football, not watching it in the comfort of my own home. Just, no, I need some atmosphere. So that was actually really fun. And then later that day, we went and got dinner, and we had this amazing, for dessert, it was like a toffee pudding with like a ton of ice cream on top. And the lady that was serving us, we must have had like 7 courses, just like with all the sides and the veggies. It's like what we always do, and everyone always looks at us like, you're gonna eat all that? And it was awesome, and it was really nice. Like, Lane took a week of diet break, so we both kind of got to enjoy that together, which we hardly ever do. In fact, he hardly ever eats dessert, so that was nice for me. I don't know how he felt about it. But then we went axe throwing. So one of his clients owns the axe throwing place in Gainesville. I really wish that I remembered the name of it now. Hatchberry Axe Throwing. If you guys haven't ever been to that location in Gainesville, awesome. We threw axes for an hour, and they have like different sizes, and then you play different games. Lane actually beat me in like 3 of them, and then there was one, it was called horse. It's kind of like horse basketball, shooting goals. You're trying to hit the target. So I actually beat him in horse. So that was fun, but he beat me in like every other game. So there's quite a skill required to throw axes, and I'm definitely not a serial killer, so we're safe there. And then the next day we went shooting. So we found, I've always said to Lane, like, I really like the idea of shooting and having that skill for safety. Everybody here has guns, so it's actually kind of silly of me not to shoot guns, or at least know how to protect myself or use a gun if I needed to. So I said, like, if you want me to learn how to shoot a gun and be interested in it, you need to not lock me inside a dungeon, indoors at an indoor shooting range. Like, I couldn't think of anything worse. So we found this outdoor range which has like 7 or 8 different areas that you can go to. Some of them are like long range, some of them are short range. And then some of them are like moving targets, and they're all set up behind like big bunkers. Lane took a couple of his guns down. So I think we had the Tavor, which is kind of like a big badass looking gun. I guess an equivalent would be like an isn't it AK-15? I think that's what it is. It looks badass. Well, this is like an equivalent, like it's pretty big, sits on your shoulder, and it's like brr, 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 brr. Anyway.
Good. Nice. That little button on the front of the magazine. Press it, pull it out. Yep. Load next one. Yep. Button on the bottom. Yep. Back in the fight.
Super fun. We actually hit the targets. Well, I hit the targets, which was awesome. Didn't think I was going to do that. So, and then we used some, I guess, handguns, and they one of them was a what's the most popular gun, Chino? Glock.
Yep.
Okay, and then he has another little one as well. It's like a S, I don't know. Anyway, is that what it is? A P365? I don't know. But anyway, there's one gun is like really good for my, like, I have small hands, so the biggest thing when you're shooting, like some of the guns I can't like hit the release to drop the mag out. So you actually have to like move your whole hand around to like eject the magazine. So we've worked out what gun I actually need. I need a smaller one that actually fits these pathetic hands. And yeah, it was actually really fun. So that was good. I think we both needed a bit of R&R in the form of like killing things and throwing things, which is definitely how we roll. So feeling a little bit relieved and back to a much better start to the week. So yeah, this week is going to be tough. I've definitely had to make sure that I was set up with all of my like foods that are going to help me nail those targets this week because I do want to be pretty compliant, see how lean I can get. I have had a lot more people kind of pop up to me in the gym just in the last 2 weeks, and I'm like, oh, you're leaning down. Wow. I'm like, yes, finally. But it's been really frustrating because, as you guys know, like you've seen my weight, and today I checked in, I'm still 69.8. Like I'm 0.2 of a kilo lighter than I was like 4 weeks ago. In fact, I've been kind of fluctuating between high 69s and 71s for the last few weeks. So I've still been like putting in a lot of effort, and it feels like I haven't been making a lot of progress if I was just looking at the scale number. But like physically, I can look in the mirror, and not today because I just ate, but in the mornings, like I have definitely been able to see my abs showing again, which I haven't had in like the last 9 months or however long, and just definitely feeling a little bit lighter. So yeah, it's good to I kind of get that reassurance that, hey, that bit of work that you've been doing is actually paying off. It's not, it's not visible necessarily on the scale, which I know so many of us kind of get fixated on, and like that's the only variable or metric that you really pay any attention to. And I guess the best way that I can explain that is, for the first part of the fat loss, I was probably still building muscle. So muscle is more dense than adipose tissue or fat. So during the first 3 or 4 weeks, my weight didn't really move, but that was probably because there was some body recomp happening. So I was increasing lean body mass, but my fat mass was decreasing. So the scale number didn't really change. And then obviously, as I've begun to diet more, I've definitely gravitated more towards A, protein, and B, fiber. Both of those are much greater when it comes to the thermic effect of food. So I'm giving my body less energy in that sense, but they are very osmotic and they have a food volume. So obviously when you're consuming more of those foods, specifically the fiber I'm talking about, my weight on the scale is probably going to stay pretty steady, or it might even go up as I start to introduce more of those because of the physical mass, but my body composition is still getting leaner. And I think that is where a lot of people tend to start to worry when, oh, why is my weight not going down on the scale? But you look visibly leaner. So that's kind of the phenomenon I think that's been happening with me, certainly for the last 4 weeks, especially as I've seen my protein intake kind of go up a little bit higher. So I'm substituting out more of those carbs and fats for protein, which we know TEF 30% versus 0%, 0 to 1% for fat. So yeah, I guess just to give you guys a bit of an explanation as to like how that can happen and if you are experiencing that too. So 10 days, I'm super excited. Hopefully I have a really good week. We have quite a few things happening in the next few days. We have our supplement line, Outwork Nutrition, launching on Friday. So you guys will be seeing this Thursday. So you'll get to enter into our big competition on Friday, which will be very exciting. I think we're giving away a 12-month subscription of Outwork Nutrition products. So our new pre and post workout. And then every day this week, so today, tomorrow, Thursday, we're doing a giveaway of one of each of the products. So if you guys are interested in entering that, go to the Outwork Nutrition Instagram page. All you have to do is like the posts that you see, tag some friends, and then you'll be immediately in the draw to win the products. And then obviously Friday we'll do our launch. So the product goes on sale officially. So that's coming. There's some other big things heading your way as far as training programming, but I will save that for next week. I hope that this has been a fun video or helpful for you. And next time I check in, I will be 2 days away from heading to do the photo shoot. So we'll see you then.